US and EU remains the major base for growth for all companies. We are of course looking at emerging markets, but today the strong base remains Europe and the US. And I think there are 2 points I would like to make. The first point is that you asked me what is the future, basically, from a business perspective when it comes to EU-US. I would add one thing. It's the digital world. Again, it has been touched upon already, but everything is becoming digital. Telecommunications, of course, content, manufacturing, supply chain. This is key, and there are a number of new technologies emerging or new ways of doing business in a digital way. And I really believe that the more the EU and the US cooperate on that, the more it's going to be good, because data flows are global by definition. And when you look at issues such as cloud computing or privacy, this is absolutely crucial that the EU and the US work together. The second point I would like to make has to do with rule of law. International business, what really matters, whether it's in Europe, US, or emerging markets, it's stability, transparency, certainty, and rule of law. And I really do believe that the US and the EU together, they can actually address those issues on a global scale, because it is true that in a number of emerging economies, this is not necessarily being implemented. So I would like to say, in a very strong message here, the EU and the US, it's not only growing the transatlantic market, which is very important and we support, but it's also together addressing the global community. So yes, the role of EU-US absolutely fundamental, but also in a more global and inclusive perspective. I have 4 yes to say from a business perspective. The first yes is, of course, yes to EU-US dialogue. It's crucial for growth, jobs. The second, to James' point, is yes to a strategic EU-US dialogue, because corporations do think in strategic terms in 15 years, 20 years from now, where do we want to be? So I think it's very important. The third yes is yes to a strategic and forward-looking EU-US dialogue. This has been covered. James' last point about broadband is very important. And the fourth and last yes is yes to a strategic, forward-looking, and also outside-looking EU-US dialogue, back to the emerging markets, back to the fact that we can export rule of law, which is absolutely fundamental for global business, which are from Europe or from the US. That's a very key point to ensure that growth happens in our regions.